Jim, the most important question to ask, spoiler alert, it's why? Why? Why am I alive? Why am I doing this? What is everything? Why? And I just want to go down into this video because I feel like a lot of people, when they ask questions, they're very surface level. And it's always what, how, where, very yes or no answers. And, you know, questions are, I think they're wonderful things to master, but the best questions, honestly, are why? Because these are the most complex ones that really make you go dig deep into your psyche. So I just want to talk about this where, you know, in life, a lot of us pretty much go on autopilot. A lot of people, me included, go on autopilot for what we have to do. So let's say we'll wake up in the morning, brush our teeth, and eat the breakfast or whatnot. You know, these are pretty automatic tasks, but we're never really thinking about it. We just do them. And of course, the answer to why for those are pretty simple, right? Why do you want to brush your teeth? So you can have sanitated teeth, so your breath doesn't stink when you talk to people, so people are going to like you more. And when people like you more, they're more likely going to share your resources with you, so you will be able to have a higher chance of survival into the future. It's a pretty simple reason. Okay, now that I think about it, it's kind of deep, but you can go even deeper into that. Why do you want to survive? Well, so you can pass on your genetic legacy. Why do you want to pass on your genetic legacy? Such that nature said so. Why did nature said so? The universe said so. You know, a lot of these questions for why, they're infinite loops that pretty much always loop back into God or spirituality or the universe or nature. It always loops back to that when you ever go down the infinite loop of why. But why is such an important question anyways? I still think it should be asked because a lot of us, there's this idea that desire is suffering. I think it's a Buddhist concept. But basically, they say that desire is suffering because it is the root of your pain, of your journey, of your adventure. With journey and adventure comes the suffering, but with suffering comes with a lot of malignant feelings, right? It doesn't feel good to suffer. But for some reason, human beings, we are very envious, we're greedy. We desire things, right? When you look on Instagram Reels and you're scrolling and you see the guy with the crazy house or a car or the girlfriend, you're like, damn, I wish I had that. You see all these thirsty-eyed dudes in the comments or these envious guys saying, damn, I wish I had that. But these guys are all foaming at the mouth. They're pretty much spouting their desires out there. And if that desire, when they compare themselves to them, they suffer. They feel like they're nothing. They feel less. They feel insignificant. Lesser beings, lesser spirits. And as a result, they suffer because they don't feel good from that, right? And sometimes this is a good spark, right? Maybe that Instagram reel of the crazy car will be that one spark like, fuck, why do I not have this? And then they figure it out. Like maybe they ask themselves why, and then they go get it anyways. But think about with desire anyways. Desire, it ends in suffering, right? But what they say in like Buddhism, like I'm not a fucking Buddhist by the way, but I just like some of their ideas. But they basically say that desire, you can reach enlightenment just by closing your fucking eyes, going into the nature valley and meditating under a tree, having the wind blowing on your face, the sunlight kissing your eyebrows, having the birds chirp around you, seeing the blue colored skies floating above you as if you're in a marshmallow valley. Like you can have enlightenment. You can be eternally peaceful and bliss of happiness right now. All you gotta do is go outside, do that, what I just described. That's how that guy got enlightened, right? But the thing is, that's free. You can do that immediately. Everybody has access to that. Then why is there so much suffering then? It's because everybody's desiring shit. They want shit. If you want shit, you need to suffer for it. It's not like you can immediately grab it. You have to suffer to grab the thing you want. And of course, there's like the philosophical spiel about it of that, oh, well, does that even matter or whatnot? I don't know if it's either extreme way of being super desiring of it or basically not having a desire. I think there's like a middle point to this. Like some things you should desire for a good reason, and some things you probably don't need them. But that part about you don't need them is the most important thing, right? Because let's say you want to say that you see the fancy car out there in Instagram reel. But you know, like buying cars logically is like not the best financial investment. Like if you want it because it's cool, then all right, that's cool. But why do you want it if it's cool? Why is it cool to you? And maybe you look back in your childhood or like, oh, maybe I grew up watching Formula Sports or my dad showed me this and I was like, holy crap, this is so awesome and I want to own it. And you know, that's probably a decent reason. But then you can go deeper on why. Okay, well, why did my dad show this to me? Okay, well, maybe his dad showed it to him because his dad was like a car engineer or whatnot. Like you can go even deeper. It goes even deeper on that why question. But eventually you're going to reach a point and end when you ask this why to pretty much root back to the infinite intelligence. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? So all my answers of why, okay, with a car engineer, he wanted to do the cars so he can get some bitches. Okay, why does he want some bitches? Because he wants to get some, pass down his genetic legacy. Why does he want to pass down his genetic legacy? Okay, well, it passes down to nature. Okay, well, why is nature? Well, why anything? Why the universe? It always leads back to that whenever it's rooted for any sort of desire that man has. And when you think about that, that every desire we have roots to the same fucking source, it makes everything seem insignificant. There's no value. Everything is just common. Everything is a commodity in terms of desire. So why the fuck would you go through all this suffering and extra work if it ends into something source-wise as no value? Why? And you know, that loop there could save you a lot of time. Imagine if that person asked them why and they realize that. And they're like, okay, maybe I don't really want the car anymore. I don't really care anymore. So I'm not going to waste my 5 years working away in the corporate world just so I can afford this car. I'm going to go live my life instead. And I'm going to, I don't know, build the business and bless up the whole church or whatnot. I'm going to bless everyone up. And he will live a more virtuous life. You know, some people will say that's a more virtuous life. It depends on what he wants, but that whole loop, 5 years of wasted effort, was solved by just asking himself, why? Why do I want anything? And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm saying in this video. The most important question to ask, I think, is why. And the summary in this video here is that it will solve a lot of issues for like why you even want things. And for me personally, I ask myself why on a daily basis. Why am I doing literally anything? And it's also a way to give you purpose and motivation. Because I don't think that a life with no desire is achievable for a lot of people, because you want some things to fulfill your basic human needs, and you should work for those, I think. But it's good as a reminder, at least, like a motivation, purposeful. Like this is the practical way, the most common way. Like, why am I working a job? Why am I making money? Why am I saving it? And some people, they will say that, oh, well, I want to buy the new car or whatnot, or the new iPhone. And when they ask themselves, why do they want that? Well, I want external validation. Why do I want external validation? Because I want attention from the opposite sex. It pretty much always ends up in that for man, from my experience. Okay, why do I want attention from we've gone through this loop. But, you know, there's a lot of different ways to do that, right? It's a lot more sustainable with not external validation. If you build yourself up, you build the character, become the type of person who can provide and become the person that is essentially fit for the role. You build the resume for that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm saying in this video. Just kind of yapping about why. Why? All right. I'll see you guys.